Every day on this channel, I go through everything Elon said on X in the last 24 hours. And here's how many times Elon posted about each subject today. I'll go over everything he said about each topic before moving on to the next one. And starting with Tesla, Robert Scoble is taking a road trip in his Tesla and he's on mile 1280 without his hands on the wheel. He says the autonomous age is here. When I first saw autonomous cars, they couldn't complete DARPA's challenge and they didn't even have a roundabout as part of the course. Having a fun vacation rocking out in California. And he then talked about how Grok made the vacation and road trip even better. It found him and his wife fun things to visit and good things to eat and answered some science questions to settle some family arguments. And he says it was our first road trip with a large language model as part of the car. And Elon said, cool. And today the xAI Memphis team broke ground on their wastewater treatment facility in Memphis. It has 13 million gallons per day of treatment capacity. It's the largest ceramic membrane bioreactor in the world. With 13,000 membrane modules stacked together, they would be taller than 4 Empire State Buildings. There will be 900,000 square feet of ceramic membrane surface area, which is 16 football fields of membrane surface area, 4 miles of internal process piping, and the largest membrane gallery in the world, and the membrane process building will be 600 feet long. 2 entire football fields would fit inside, and Elon reposted this. It's projected to be an $80 million water recycling plant. Great job to Brent and the whole xAI team, and let the work begin. And JC Christopher says, here's a painful, honest, blunt force truth that Elon haters completely ignore. Nobody was moving their business to Memphis in 2023. Absolutely nobody. The city was strapped with violence, some of the highest per capita in our nation. In 2023, Memphis ranked number 1 in violent crime, number 1 in overall crime, and number 1 in homicides rates, all among large U.S. cities. In the 2 years since this, Elon has brought tons of jobs, tons of tax revenue, tons of new infrastructure, tons of new school programs, and tons of vegan leather perforated seats to this wonderful historic city of Memphis. And what else has happened, you might ask? Crime improved dramatically between 23 and 25. Overall rates dropped 15.4%. Violent crime dropped 17.4%. Property crime dropped 21.6%, and homicides fell to a 6-year low of 150 through September, down from 397 in 2023. Elon is saving lives right now in Memphis, and he's doing it with a damn AI data center used by nerds to make Annie companions that tell them how handsome they are. Thank you, Elon. And Elon responded to that with a heart. And Grok 4 Fast is now available on Oracle Cloud. And Tech Dev Note says this Grok feature is so good. He asked Grok to just recommend some running shoes, and then Grok gives an overall breakdown of 2 shoes, actually more, there's some more down there, and then links to buy the shoes as well as pros and cons. And xAI just launched Grok Business Plans on Grok Web. Businesses can now purchase team plans or custom enterprise options. Grok Business slogan is to ignite collective genius and scale intelligence across your organization. And Elon reposted those last 3 posts I showed you. And it's important to scale intelligence across your business because 1 AI year is 7 internet ones. And Elon says, seriously. Demis Hassabis, he's the CEO of Google DeepMind, says, we processed over 1.3 quadrillion tokens last month. Written as a number, that's 1.3 quadrillion tokens with 14 zeros. Or to put it another way, that's 500 million tokens a second or 1.8 trillion tokens an hour. Elon says, wow. And Jay says our new benchmark has the top 6 AI models trading real capital. By real capital, he means crypto. And Grok 4 is winning so far. It was short and then flipped to long, timing the bottom perfectly. It's up over 500% in 1 day, as you can see the spike there in black. And you can see on the right here what each large language model is holding. But Elon is proud and quoted it saying, Grok. And a new feud with Elon and OpenAI started yesterday, and we caught the early break of this story. We went over a couple of posts about it. It all started with this thread from Nathan Calvin where he said on one Tuesday night, as his wife and him sat down for dinner, a sheriff's deputy knocked on the door to serve him a subpoena from OpenAI. And he says he held back on talking about it because he didn't want to distract from SB 53, which is a new California AI transparency law. And SB 53 requires large AI firms like OpenAI to disclose safety measures. And that's an important context because Nathan Calvin here, he works with Encode. And Encode works on AI policy. So he has a role in this development. And so while OpenAI's prior attempt to weaken the bill via a letter to Governor Newsom underscores a pattern of resistance to regulation, and OpenAI seems to suspect that Elon Musk is in connection with some of these people who are critiquing OpenAI in their willingness to disclose safety measures. And so then yesterday we went over this defensive post from Jason, he works at OpenAI, and he's saying that this subpoena is a standard legal step in their lawsuit against Elon Musk. And so after explaining all of the subpoenas and sort of downplaying the significance, as we read all of this yesterday, what we missed was Jeremy Howard replying saying, "Thank you for sharing the details. They do not seem to support your claims above. They show that, in fact, the subpoena is not limited to dealings with Musk, but is actually all communications about SB53 or about OpenAI's governance or structure." So Elon said, "Exactly." And Liv quoted Nathan's original thread saying, "Read it." And Elon said, "It's dirty tricks and intimidation by OpenAI." August said, "This subpoena is a huge reach. OpenAI is trying to intimidate civil society opposing its lobbying efforts by the vague legal pretext of investigating connections with Musk, which don't exist." Elon said 100. And in response to Jason defending the subpoenas, Simeon paraphrased Jason saying, "We hired the world's most feared bully to lead our policy team, but we swear he wasn't bullying our policy opponents. It's much more complicated." He says, "As long as OpenAI keeps Chris Lahane to lead their policy team, they'll keep bullying their opponents. It's as simple as this." And Elon again says 100. Cody says OpenAI is nothing without its subpoenas. And Tyler Johnson shared yesterday how he also got subpoenaed, as we went over, Elon Musk's name even being included on the document. And Cody quoted it saying OpenAI is nothing without its subpoenas, and Elon had a laugh at that one. And Neil quoted Jason's response, quoting it as damage control. He's saying, "It's weird how OpenAI's damage control doesn't actually explain why they tried using an unrelated court case to make a key advocate of a whistleblower and transparency bill, being SB53, share all private texts and emails about the bill, some involving former OpenAI employees as the bill was debated." And Elon responded to that saying, "OpenAI is a lie." And Elon applauds the Neuralink team as ALS took Nick's arm's mobility, but now he can control a robotic arm with his Neuralink device to feed himself.
That's pretty freaking ridiculous.
He says, "Life with my brain-computer interface has been and continues to be so surreal and so rewarding. Can't wait to see what comes next." And this Neuralink employee said patient 8 fed himself for the first time since the injury by controlling a robotic arm, purely by thinking with telepathy, mind over matter, and Elon reposted this. And we're getting Starship Flight 11 in just 2 days. There it is, traveling to the launch pad. It's going to transpire at Monday at 5 p.m. Central Time. And here's Elon talking about Starlink connectivity, connecting to your phone.
Because even if an entire region or country was lost connectivity because of a severe, hurricane or floods or fires or tornadoes, earthquakes, there's so many natural disasters, obviously, you would actually still have, even if all the cell towers were taken out, your phone would still work. Thank you.
So Elon replied to that today saying, "Yes." And Peter Diamandis says, "I always remember something Elon told me once. How he values criticism over compliments. Why? Because at the end of the day, only one helps you improve." And Elon said, "Yeah." And moving on to politics, Rothmus posted this meme of libtards being sort of confused because they believe both that we live on stolen land, but also that borders are just imaginary lines. And so Elon had a laugh at this one. And here's the first look at the new live-action Lord of the Flies series. Raw Egg Nationalist says this new adaptation is written by the man who wrote Adolescence and transmuted the real-life story of a black man stabbing a white girl into a blood libel against young white boys. There will be a racial element added to this that was totally missing in Golding's story. Elon said, "Who is the creep that wrote such a lie?" Sam said, "Remember the movie A Time to Kill? Grisham based his novel on the case of a black man who raped and tortured 2 white sisters but switched the races for the novel. Also, the actual killer in River's Edge was black too." And Elon said, "Wow." And Josh says it's hard to fathom the kind of evil it takes to create something like this for children. The book reads, before you were born, a group of white men started making up lots of ideas about bodies that weren't true. They said that one kind of body was the best, and that being fat was bad and being skinny was good. They were very wrong, but lots of people listened to them. So Elon said, evil. And Reuters headline reads, Peter Thiel, in talk on Antichrist, said he told Elon Musk not to give wealth to charity. Jason said, how morally bankrupt do you have to be to tell the world's richest man not to give to charity? You almost have to admire the consistency of Thiel's villain arc. Mike Solana said, I keep forgetting how many people are legitimately too dumb to understand this point. And Elon said, yeah, what Peter means is don't inadvertently donate money to organizations that are undermining civilization. And Michael Oxford says, I'm at the DMV renewing my driver's license. The final step is where it asks you if you are a United States citizen or not. So yes, you can get a driver's license in California if you are here illegally. If you came here illegally and are getting a driver's license, you must check the box that says I am not a citizen or decline to answer. The DMV will not register you to vote if you check either of those two boxes. If you simply check the box that says you are a citizen, you will be registered to vote. It's that simple. If you are here illegally and you want to vote, you simply need to check a box. Yes, that would be illegal, but so is coming here illegally. So why would that bother you? And he posted a screenshot of the selection process. Matt Van Swol said, this is massive fraud. This should be fully illegal. And Elon agreed. And a lot of millionaires in the UK are fleeing the country to avoid the crazy taxes. Nick Storonsky being one. He has left the UK and become a tax resident in Dubai, escaping more than £3 billion of UK tax. So Fraser says, interesting. The idea of an exit tax is being increasingly spoken of in SW1 circles as a potential tool to stem exodus of super taxpayers. Its effect in deterring new arrivals, of course, would likely far outweigh any gain, which is why it's important to have the debate now. Peter Haig said, always a sign of a system that works when you try to stop people leaving. I worry that in the decades to come, this is going to be done against space colonization. Parasitic states are going to hate their best fleeing to another planet even more than them fleeing to another country. And Elon said 100. And Austin Allred says, this is the most convincing argument for private schools I've ever read. The argument reads, you are a bad person if you send your children to private school. Not bad like murder or bad, but bad like ruining one of our nation's most essential institutions in order to get what's best for your kid bad. So, pretty bad. I am not an education policy wonk. I'm just judgmental. But it seems to me that if every single parent sent every single child to public schools would improve. This would not happen immediately. It could take generations, and your children and grandchildren might get mediocre educations in the meantime, but it will be worth it for the eventual common good. So Austin says, yeah, I'm sending my kids to private schools, and Elon says, wow. And Peter Diamandis says, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The best way to predict the future, or more specifically, your future, is to create yourself. To create it yourself. And Elon says, noted. And he also says, I believe knowledge doubles every 80 hours now, not every few years. And Elon said, fast, but not that fast. And we'll now be discussing a sensitive subject. 2 brothers were jailed in Bradford for raping a 12-year-old girl. Leonard was given 24 years plus a year on license, while his brother was handed 12 years detention in a young offender institution. Elon responded with 2 exclamation marks. And this illegal alien monster repeatedly raped an 11-year-old girl in her own home after being hired to renovate her family's bathroom. The Biden administration previously marked him as a non-enforcement priority, allowing him to roam free and prey on innocent children. These are the type of depraved criminals our brave immigration customs enforcement law enforcement officers are arresting and removing from America every single day. Stephen Miller said the entire Democrat Party as an organization, from Schumer to Pritzker to Spanberger, is singularly committed to the project of keeping all illegal aliens inside our country no matter the cost or the pain. And Elon said 100. And Peter Sweden said, let's be very clear. The reason that the mainstream media ignores the threat of the far left is because the media are part of the far left. Don't believe their propaganda. And Elon again said 100. And Nikita Beer, why is there X messages and X chat? Please merge those. Based Beth Jazo says yeah, and Elon says they are being merged. And ending with Grok, Imagine, XFreeze gives some tips for prompts on generating videos with Hollywood-level precision. You can mention these camera controls in your prompts for pure movie magic, like pan or tilt or zoom in or dolly in. You can tell it how you want the shot to be. So it's time for the daily Grok Imagine slideshow. All of the creations Elon reposted today, starting with Annie Tron and Valentine Tron. So that is everything that Elon said today. We saw them breaking ground in Memphis for their new water recycling plant. We saw some more thoughts from Elon on OpenAI's subpoenas. We saw some UK millionaires continue to flee the UK and patient aid of Neuralink using a robotic arm to feed himself. I'm not showing myself on screen at the moment just because I'm feeling quite under the weather. There's a chance you will see Isaac tomorrow. Isaac fills in for me on this channel when I can't make it. But no matter who it is, we will see you guys tomorrow.